I, female, 28, told my dad he can't bring my step-siblings to my wedding. Now he's refusing to come. Throwaway account for obvious reasons, since some of my family members use Reddit. Hi guys, if you somehow find this, yikes. So I'm getting married to Jason, male 29, next month. We've been together for 4 years, engaged for 1, and honestly, he's the most amazing guy. Like, seriously, the first guy who's ever truly been there for me and supported me through everything. Some backstory that's important. My parents got divorced when I was 16. My dad, Robert, male 58, left my mom, Melissa, female 55, for his secretary, Valerie, female 42. Yeah, that cliche. It was super messy and basically destroyed our family. My mom was completely blindsided and heartbroken, and my brother, Charlie, male 30, and I were just lost, I guess. After the divorce, my dad basically checked out of our lives. Like, he'd remember to call on some birthdays, not all, and would sometimes show up for holidays, but he basically just left. Meanwhile, Charlie really stepped up and became like a father figure to me. He taught me to drive, helped me move into my college dorm, came to my college graduation, helped me buy my first car, all that stuff that dads are supposed to do. And my dad did pay for a small portion of my college, which he loves to bring up constantly, but my mom and student loans covered most of it. Anyway, 2 years after the divorce, my dad married Valerie, and suddenly he had this whole new family with her 3 kids. Madison, female, 19, Phil, male 17, and Tabitha, female 14. I've maybe met them a handful of times in the last 7 years. Like, I don't even really know them. We're not close at all. I think I've had maybe 2 actual conversations with Madison ever, and the younger ones basically just stare at their phones whenever we're in the same room. So here's the current situation. Jason and I bought our first house together last year, and we're trying to keep wedding costs reasonable. Our venue has a strict capacity limit of 100 people, and we're already at that limit with our close friends and family. When we sent out invitations last month, I addressed one to my dad and Valerie, but not to my step-siblings. I honestly didn't think it would be a big deal. Like, I barely know these kids, and they've never shown any interest in having a relationship with me. But I was wrong. My dad called me last week asking why the kids weren't included on the invitation. I explained about our guest limit and venue capacity. He suggested I cut some friends to make room for family. When I pointed out that I barely know his stepkids, he accused me of still being bitter about the divorce. He brought up paying for my college education, though he only paid for 1 semester. The conversation ended with him saying, either I include all his children or he won't attend. Then he hung up on me without saying goodbye. The next day, Valerie called to reason with me about the situation. She used this fake, sweet voice and kept saying how hurt the kids were about being excluded, which is complete bullshit because none of them have ever shown any interest in having a relationship with me. I remember when my dad insisted I drive 4 hours to attend Phil's middle school graduation. I took time off work and everything. The entire time I was there, my dad just took pictures of Phil and barely acknowledged I was even there. Valerie introduced me to her friends as Robert's daughter from his first marriage, and Phil didn't even say thank you when I gave him a $50 gift card. My dad insisted on being listed as father of the bride on our wedding website, even though Charlie has been more of a father to me than he ever was. I only agreed because I didn't want to start drama. Fat lot of good that did me. I told Charlie about all this when we had our weekly lunch. When I told him what happened, he immediately offered to walk me down the aisle. He said he's been more of a dad to me anyway, and I literally started crying into my club sandwich. I don't really care if my dad comes or not. I mean, it's not like he's been a huge part of my life anyway. But at the same time, I don't know. I guess I always had this stupid fantasy that my dad would walk me down the aisle on my wedding day. And now that's definitely not happening, and it just makes me sad. My mom says it's your wedding, your choice, which I know means she supports me completely. She's always been Team Ashley. The wedding is only 3 weeks away now, and I'm still kind of hoping my dad will change his mind and just come without the stepkids. But he's so stubborn, and Valerie has him completely wrapped around her finger. I feel torn between standing my ground, because seriously, why should I have to include people I barely know at my wedding, and just giving in to keep the peace? Am I being unreasonable here? I really don't think I am, but my aunt, Dad's sister, called yesterday and basically said I was being a brat and needed to respect my father. Like, where was this respect when he was missing every important event in my life for the past 12 years? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect so many responses. To clarify a few things people are asking about. 1. Yes, Charlie is technically my half-brother. Same mom, different dad, but we've always been super close despite the 2-year age gap. He's been there for everything. 2. No, my step-siblings have never made any effort to bond with me. One time I tried to take Madison shopping when she was like 14, and she spent the entire time texting her friends and acting like I was annoying her. 3. To everyone saying I should just invite them to keep the peace, we literally cannot fit more people at the venue. We're already at capacity. We'd have to uninvite other people who actually care about us to make room. Now for the first update. So, it's been a crazy couple of weeks since my last post. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented with support and advice. I read every single comment, even though I couldn't respond to all of them. There were so many. Oh my freaking God. I know a lot of you were asking for an update, so here goes. Sorry in advance if this is all over the place. I'm still processing everything and honestly haven't slept well in days. So the wedding happened last weekend. And yes, my dad and Valerie and the step-siblings were no-shows, just like he threatened. I was actually kind of relieved in a way. Like I didn't have to worry about any awkward encounters or drama during the actual ceremony, although plenty of drama followed, but I'll get to that. The wedding itself was amazing, despite a few minor disasters that we can laugh about now. Our caterer somehow mixed up the appetizers, and we ended up with these weird little crab puff things instead of the bruschetta we ordered, but everyone loved them anyway. My college roommate's baby had like the most epic diaper blowout right in the middle of the ceremony. I'm talking up the back situation. But they managed to sneak out without causing a scene. Oh, and my grandpa, mom's dad, kept asking when the real party was going to start, even though the reception was in full swing with dancing and everything. He's 87, and honestly, I think he was expecting like a keg stand situation or something, lol. Charlie walked me down the aisle, and it was the most perfect moment. I was waiting in the back room with my bridesmaids when Charlie came in to get me. He was wearing our late grandfather's cufflinks, and when he saw me in my dress, he just stopped and stared. I told him not to start crying or I'd ruin my makeup, and he joked about me looking too grown up. I remember fixing his tie because it was crooked. He's terrible at ties, always has been. When he offered me his arm, he told me it was time to get married. Right as the music started, he whispered that he had me, which is what he always used to say when I was little and scared. I squeezed his arm really hard. When the doors opened and everyone stood up, I noticed some people were already crying. Jason was at the altar, looking handsome and teary-eyed, even though he promised he wouldn't cry. When we got to the front, Charlie put my hand in Jason's and gave Jason a look that said he better take care of me. Then he kissed my cheek and sat down next to my mom. The reception was so fun. My maid of honor and cousin Candace, female, 27, was taking pics and videos all night. Charlie gave this incredible speech that had everyone in tears. I can't remember exactly what he said because I'd had like 3 glasses of champagne by then, but he mentioned being there when others weren't, which everyone knew was about my dad without actually saying it. Everyone was crying and clapping, and I just felt so loved, you know. The drama started the next day. We were rushing around trying to finish packing for our Cancun honeymoon. We almost missed our flight because Jason couldn't find his passport, which was in his wedding jacket pocket the whole time. Oh my freaking God, men. Anyway, while we were frantically looking for the passport, I was scrolling through Instagram and saw that Candace had posted this video clip of Charlie walking me down the aisle and parts of his speech. Her caption was something like, "When your brother steps up and shows what real family looks like. So proud of Charlie for being the man Ashley needed today. #best brother ever, sibling love." I didn't think much of it at the time. Like, I just thought she was celebrating my brother being awesome, which he is. I remember giving her a huge hug before we left for the airport and commenting a bunch of heart emojis on the post. I noticed the post was getting a ton of likes and comments from our friends and family, but we were in such a rush to get to the airport that I didn't really read through them all. We made it to Cancun that evening, barely, and decided to do a digital detox for our first day. Like, phones off, just enjoying the beach and each other. So we spent that whole first day drinking those fruity umbrella drinks by the pool and got slightly sunburned despite literally bathing in SPF 50. It was so nice to just relax and not think about anything family related. Then the next morning, I turned my phone back on, and holy shit, 19 missed calls. 10 from my dad, 5 from Valerie, 3 from my Aunt Tabitha, Dad's sister, and 1 from Charlie with a text saying, "Call me as soon as possible." There were like a million texts from my dad, all basically accusing me of deliberately humiliating him. Apparently, Candace's post had gone viral among our extended network. It had been shared hundreds of times, and a bunch of people had commented stuff like, "Some people don't deserve to be called fathers," and "A brother who shows up is worth more than a father who walks away." I listened to one voicemail from my dad where he said Candace's post was obviously orchestrated to make him look bad. In the last voicemail, he was yelling that I would regret this public disrespect. His voice was shaking, he was so angry. Charlie's text explained that Dad had seen the post and was telling everyone I had planned a smear campaign against him. I didn't even read all the comments until way later. I spent that morning crying in our resort room while Jason tried to comfort me. He's amazing, but he comes from this super functional, normal family and has no idea how to handle my family drama. He kept suggesting I call my dad and explain, which, lol. If you knew my dad, you'd know that wouldn't help at all. Our whole honeymoon mood was ruined. I kept checking my phone and seeing more angry messages. I tried to enjoy the rest of the trip, but it was always there in my mind. We just got back yesterday, and I'm still trying to figure out what to do. My dad seems to think this was all some elaborate plan to humiliate him, when really it was just my cousin being supportive of my brother. I mean, yeah, the post did kind of make my dad look bad, but I didn't ask her to post that. Edit. To answer some common questions. 1. No, I definitely did not plan for Candace to make that post. I honestly didn't even think about how it might come across to my dad. I was just happy someone was recognizing how amazing Charlie has been. 2. Yes, I've talked to Candace since this all blew up. She feels terrible that her post caused so much drama, but also doesn't think she said anything untrue. She offered to take it down, but at this point, the damage is done. 3. For those asking if my step-siblings have reached out, nope, not a word from any of them. Not surprising since we barely have a relationship anyway. 4. Several people asked what my mom thinks about all this. She's 100% on my side and says my dad is overreacting, as usual. She's been super supportive, but also trying to stay somewhat neutral since they've been divorced for so long. Edit 2. Someone asked about the water damage to our house. Yes, we came home to find a small leak from our upstairs bathroom that damaged some baseboards. Also, our cat knocked over and broke one of our wedding gifts while our neighbor was feeding him. And we have like a stack of wedding cards with checks we haven't deposited yet. Adult life is so glamorous, you guys. Now for the second update. So it's been about a week since we got back from our honeymoon. And honestly, guys, I thought the drama would have died down by now, but nope. First, coming home from honeymoon was a lot. We had a small water leak in our bathroom that damaged some baseboards. Our cat knocked over and broke one of our wedding gifts while our neighbor was feeding him, and we have this stack of wedding cards with checks we still need to deposit. Adulting is so glamorous, you guys, but that's not why I'm posting. So remember how my dad was furious about my cousin Candace's post showing Charlie walking me down the aisle? Well, it turns out that was just the beginning. My dad has basically cut me off since we've been back. He's blocked me on literally every social media platform. Like, I didn't even know he had Twitter, but apparently he does, and I'm blocked there too. He's been telling everyone in our extended family that I deliberately orchestrated this whole thing to humiliate him publicly. He's saying I planned with Candace to post that video specifically to make him look bad. I mean, I literally had no idea she was even going to post anything. I was just focused on, getting married. Oh, and get this. He actually called my workplace asking to speak to my boss about getting a refund for his contribution to the wedding. Luckily, my boss just told him he needed to talk to me directly. For the record, my dad didn't contribute a single penny to our wedding. He did initially offer to pay for the rehearsal dinner, but then took it back when I wouldn't invite the step-siblings. So there was literally nothing to refund. The worst part is, he's apparently told the step-siblings that I hate them and never wanted them in the family, which is just not true. I mean, I barely know them. How can I hate people I've only met like 5 times total? I feel bad that they're being dragged into this, but also it's not my fault. And now my dad is skipping family gatherings where I'll be present. My aunt's birthday dinner was last weekend and he just didn't show up. Everyone knew it was because I would be there. So awkward. The family has basically split into two camps now. Team Ashley, Charlie, my mom, most of my cousins, all my friends, and Team Robert, Valerie, the step-siblings, my dad's siblings, and some older relatives who think I should have just invited the kids to keep the peace. My Aunt Tabitha, Dad's sister, called me yesterday. She started by asking if I had calmed down yet, which was already annoying because I'm not the one having a meltdown here. I tried to explain that I was perfectly calm, but confused about why everyone was acting like I did something wrong. She went into a lecture about respecting your father, regardless of past issues. I tried to explain my side about the wedding guest limits and how Dad gave me an ultimatum, but she kept interrupting me. She said family comes first, always. And I was like, yeah, but he's the one who chose not to come to my wedding over 3 additional guests who barely know me. Then she claimed my dad was excluded from his rightful role and publicly embarrassed. I explained that he gave me an ultimatum and I just found a solution, but she wasn't listening at all. My favorite part was when she said, "Your generation doesn't understand family loyalty," which made me want to scream because who left who here? But I just said we'd have to agree to disagree and ended the call before I said something I'd regret. Through all these conversations with my mom and other family members, I've discovered something I never realized before. Apparently, Valerie has always resented me as competition for my dad's attention, which is so weird because I've always known Valerie didn't like me, but I never understood why. Like, she literally got my dad, she won. Why would she feel threatened by his daughter, who he barely sees anyway? And my brother Charlie told me that my dad demanded he take down all social media posts of him walking me down the aisle. When Charlie refused, my dad accused him of betraying the family. What family? The one he abandoned to start a new one. I can't even with this logic. So I decided to try reaching out directly to my step-siblings, thinking maybe I could at least clear the air with them. I didn't expect much, but surprisingly, Tabitha, the 14-year-old, actually responded to my DM. And guys, she told me they didn't actually care about attending the wedding at all. None of them were even upset about not being invited. Tabitha said Valerie was the one who pushed my dad to make the ultimatum because she was upset about not being more involved in the wedding planning and being treated like an outsider, which, she kind of is an outsider. She's the woman my dad cheated with and then married. I don't hate her, but we're not exactly going to be shopping buddies. After finding all this out, I tried one last attempt at resolution. I sent my dad an email explaining my position and feelings. I wasn't even angry in it. I was super calm and just tried to explain that I never intended to hurt him, that the wedding guest limits were real, and that I hoped we could move forward. His response was a list of demands. He wants 1. A public apology on social media. 2. Deletion of all wedding photos showing Charlie walking me down the aisle. 3. A family dinner where I need to apologize to everyone in person, including Valerie and the stepkids. When I got this email, I just sat there staring at my phone for like 10 minutes. I couldn't believe it. This man who has missed most of my important life events wants me to apologize to him because he chose not to come to my wedding. I called Charlie and my mom to discuss what to do. Charlie jokingly suggested we post more wedding photos instead of taking them down. But then my mom, who has been pretty quiet about all this drama until now, finally said, enough is enough. So I did something that maybe wasn't the smartest move, but I was just done. I posted my favorite photo of Charlie walking me down the aisle on Instagram. In the caption, I thanked Charlie for being my rock through everything in life, and added, some might not understand our choices, but those who truly love us respect them. Within minutes, relatives and friends flooded the post with supportive comments. It was actually really touching to see how many people had my back. And then my phone started ringing. My dad called like 6 times in a row, but I didn't answer. Then he sent a text saying, you've made your choice. Don't expect anything from me ever again. He then called my mom to rant about my continued disrespect. And my mom told him that his behavior over the years has consequences, and he can't just demand respect he hasn't earned. He hung up on her and then sent a group text to the entire extended family calling me and Charlie ungrateful children who have forgotten who their real father is. But here's the crazy part. Several family members who were previously neutral or even on Team Robert have reached out to me privately saying they support me. My cousin Mark texted me saying he's seen how my dad's acting and it's not right, and that I didn't do anything wrong. This whole mess has really shown me who actually shows up in life's important moments. Charlie and I have gotten even closer through all this, and we now have a standing monthly dinner date that's just for us. My dad still refuses to speak to me directly 2 weeks after the wedding. The holidays are going to be so awkward this year. I'm sad about the whole situation, but also kind of at peace with my decisions. Like, I can't control how my dad reacts. I can only choose how I respond. I think I've finally accepted that I lost the fantasy of having a father who prioritizes me. But I've gained clarity about who my real family is, the people who show up without conditions or ultimatums.